I think it's really exciting that we're going to have designer Troy Anthony. He'll be coming on here with us very soon. Well, welcome to the Fashion Roundtable.
Yes.
We are
Thank you for
so
having
pleased to
me.
have you here. Yes, we are so pleased to have you here. I think there's a brief
For
delay
sure.
in the connection. I see. Are you in your
Okay.
studio?
Yeah, I'm in the design studio right now since I've been working today, so I figured I take the video from here.
Wonderful, wonderful. I can see
Yeah.
some elements there in the back. So we are so pleased to have
Yeah.
you here. We're going to
Got my
jump right
trusty sewing
into it. Are
machine with
you
me
ready?
too. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, absolutely. I'm ready.
okay, good. Wonderful. So my first question for you, Troy, is what motivated you to become a fashion designer in the first place?
Well, just being around a lot of fashion figures when I was growing up, such as my mother, my grandmother, and like all my uncles, like they were always dressed to the nines, always looking fly, and that always inspired me, being around them, you know, trying on their shoes, trying on their clothes when I was coming up. And then my grandmother taught me how to sew because she always had a sewing machine around, and I used to spend the summers at her place, and I picked up the sewing machine with her, picked up some sewing skills by, spending the summers with her, and then by the time I got to like junior high school and high school, I had already knew how to sew. And then we had the cool home ec class, so that even,
Right, right. Everybody remembers that.
yeah, you got to bring it back to the home ec days, where they actually taught sewing, and you got to sew like a pillow, or you got to sew a little bag, of some sort. So,
I think I made a poodle, like a poodle pillow, and it wasn't very good, but I did try it. So gotta
yeah,
love those grandmothers passing down that wisdom and those trays.
totally.
Those trays are
Yeah,
important. So shout out to the grandma on that one, and just
yeah.
the inspiration. How would you describe the Troy Anthony Designs brand? What is your brand?
Well, yes, it's innovative first of all. It's chic, and then I design like classic pieces that can be timeless. Like that's my goal. And then I'm out to solve problems that everyday women experience throughout
Right.
their day. So I'm not just designing stuff to be haute couture, to be, different. Like it has a purpose. It's a
Right.
design with a purpose in mind. And I'm designing for a certain, client in mind too. I'm thinking about that client when I'm designing, and I'm thinking about like how can I solve a problem that a woman is facing.
Right. That's awesome. So
Mhm.
beautiful, classic, and functional, right? So that's
Correct. A
amazing.
little
That's
chic,
right. I
yo.
love that. That chic. You
Yeah,
gotta be
yeah,
chic, but it's also gotta work for you. So I love that you're thinking
totally,
about that. Now, do you
totally.
only
That's the
design
details.
for women? Have you ever thought about designing for men?
Yes, absolutely. Well, I'm a man, so I definitely try to make myself clothes. I try to do a little bit of menswear here and there. I just wish the men would shop more and be more fashion forward. So like, I find myself kind of educating men more so than, and kind of pushing them out their comfort zone, to
Right.
try something new because, I think men get a little bit, stuck in a funk, where they don't want to experiment and they don't want to go out their element and jazz things up a little bit. So that's been a little bit, where I've been trying to push the men, and I have to do that by leading by example.
Absolutely. And you do that so well. The men, they're coming up. It's on the rise. I see it happening. Men's style is really on the rise right now. So I'm glad that you mentioned that. So let me ask you, when you're putting together a collection, or just doing one piece even, what is your inspiration behind that? Do you have a muse?
Yeah, well, I probably say the muse is definitely the dress form, the mannequin. You know, as far as the inspiration, I go off of, feeling, I go off of fabrics. So like I can walk into a fabric store and see a fabric that jumps at me, that pops, and I'm like, okay, I already know what to do with it, and it's just based on the season. It's based on, what's going on during the current time as far as trends goes. As a designer, you always have to do your research. You got to do your R&D, your research and development. You always got to be
Absolutely.
like, seeing what's going on in Paris and Milan, Italy, and in China. Not only U.S., but you gotta, check out to see what's happening abroad. And kind of, create a collection around that still, matches your brand and it's fashion forward, and it kind of tells a story. So like, when I'm designing a collection, I'm looking to tell a story. I'm looking for it to have an intro, have a body, and then have that conclusion that hooks them, and
Wow.
has them come back for more. Hmm.
It does tell a story and you leave feeling
Totally.
that way. It touches you in a different way. Absolutely.
Yeah,
I agree with
yeah,
that.
that's my goal. Because like you don't want to do a fashion show and it doesn't evoke emotion in somebody, or it doesn't make them, do something, or research you or Google you, so you
Right.
have to tell a story, and get people involved. So that's the thing.
Absolutely. So much of
Yeah,
fashion has to do with life. So
totally.
that really does I can relate to that. Absolutely. So many people don't know this, that you were here in Tampa and you
Yeah,
made a jump to New York. What can you
yeah.
tell me about that? And what was the biggest challenge of making that jump from the Tampa fashion market to a New York fashion market?
Very good question. So first of all, I definitely enjoyed Florida, enjoyed my time in Tampa. Went to college there, got my bachelor's degree there, and I just felt that I outgrew, the Florida market, but I'm very grateful for the Florida market and all the clients and all the friends, such as the fashion movement, such as Miss McLeod, with all the great people that I met, along that journey was instrumental in my growth. So it had prepared me for in the New York Fashion Week market, the New York market, that whole tri-state market, and it was a leap of faith, because
Right.
like I felt that, I had outgrew that, and I was ready for the next challenge, and I didn't know what it looked like. It was all about taking that leap of faith.
Wow, how brave was that? And it's paying off big. We definitely
Yeah.
miss you here in the Tampa fashion market because you brought so much. One of
Yeah.
the things that I always really loved about your style of design and what you brought to the table, we got you back,
Thank you.
was your draping, your ability to
Oh,
drape fabric.
yeah.
And that's a hard skill to,
Oh,
to
yeah.
learn and to do so well. And that was one of the
Totally.
that I always took away from your collections and your brand of clothing was
Uh,
like, wow, that classic, like you said, style and your way of draping fabric. So,
totally. Totally. I'm glad you remember that. I'm glad I was remembered by something, oh, that means a lot, and just to touch on draping, like you really have to understand a woman's body. Basically, you really have to understand that silhouette, and you have to understand, your fabrication, your textiles, and understand like how a fabric will fall, on a woman's body, on a body itself, so that's very important. And I'm grateful for the fashion movement for allowing me to have a platform, such as Haute, and all the different fashion shows that we have done together, because I was able to, use those platforms, to showcase the draping skills. So
oh,
definitely
wow.
shout out to Lacey.
Lacey B. Smith, CEO and owner of the Fashion
Yeah.
Movement, absolutely has afforded a lot of opportunities to a lot of industry professionals here in the Tampa market. And I can speak to that skill level because I believe that you draped me for a fashion show as a plus size
Yeah.
model. And it's true, you really have to know how every different type of woman's body type falls so that you can make it look good. And you definitely, as a plus size model, made me look good. So I appreciate that. And that doesn't always happen. It takes a level of skill. So thank you for that. And like you said, shout out to the fashion movement for offering
Yeah, totally.
that platform. So
Totally.
I have another question for you. Where do you
Hmm.
see the Troy Anthony Designs brand in 10 years?
Globally, I mean, right now I'm thinking international, I studied in Milan, Italy. I had the opportunity to study overseas in Milan, Italy, and study fashion the European way. And I'm
Wow.
grateful for that experience during college because it really enlightened me on the way Europeans dress, and those women over there, they take fashion very, very serious.
Absolutely.
Um, from the wide leg pants, I remember, to the pointy heel, high heel, the very pointy, sharp high heel, just trying to take the brand international, beyond the US, and kind of have a international approach, to my designs.
Right.
And I be able to continue to solve problems. Like, the one thing about fashion is that, it's, you don't make money right away. You make money by, like, so like, if you want to make money right away, this is probably the wrong industry for you.
Right.
But you start making money once you solve problems. And I've been able to, like, design bras for patients who've had rotator cuff surgery and shoulder surgery because they only have one good arm. So I
Wow.
designed a bra that opens up in the front, so
Wow.
she doesn't have to reach all the way in the back, to open her bra, and she can still feel modest and go to physical therapy while wearing a bra and not having to be, bare.
That's amazing.
So just kind of thinking outside of the box, like, how can you use your talent, use your skill to solve problems, will definitely, um, you know, allow you to go further, and finding your niche is very important.
Right. It sounds like you've definitely done that. And I'm so glad that you speak to that because so often people don't realize how multifaceted fashion is. It isn't just
Totally.
a vanity thing. You're solving
Hmm.
problems for people. You're meeting these different needs for people so that they can still, like you said, feel modest or be stylish, and
Hmm.
not lose that thing that we all want, right? So I definitely agree with that. And then also encouraging other fashion designers by letting them know that this isn't a fly by night kind of deal, that you have to work and invest and it
Yeah,
take time to get to that place. So thank you so much
totally.
for sharing that. I also want to speak to that whole European fashion. I've spent over 17 years overseas, and it's true.
Yes,
In Japan,
talk
the
about
fashion
it.
is amazing. In Europe,
Yeah.
the fashion, and it's so different from Italy to Germany to Japan. Those are all
Hmm.
places I've lived, and you can take
Hmm.
something away from all of them. So I do think it's important
Wow.
to study,
Hmm.
street style and classic style and all those different things. So thank you for
Hmm.
sharing that. So
Yeah, yeah, it's
we're
true.
going to have a little fun and we're going to jump into the We Want to Know Wednesday questions, right? But before we
Yeah.
do that, we did get a question from one of our viewers. And so
Okay.
I want to ask you that question because we polled our followers to find out kind of what they wanted to ask you. So we're going to pull one question. One of our models, Vienna, she asked the question about you being in the New York market as a
Hmm.
designer. When you are selecting, and Vienna is a model here in the Tampa industry, and I think she's
Okay.
a little outside of that, Miami and some other places as well.
Hmm.
Her question to you was, when you're selecting your models, are you
Hmm.
only selecting models that are that industry standard? And we all kind of know what that is, that certain height, that size
Hmm.
2, no bigger than a size 4. maybe blonde hair, blue eyed, or just really that model standard? Or are you accepting models that may not be that industry standard when you're making your selection?
Yes and no. So like, I'm looking at, experience. I'm looking at the way she walks, the way she presents herself on the runway. Not so much about the industry standard. I think that's kind of sort of, gotten changed over the time, because now you see plus size models on the runway in New York Fashion Week.
Absolutely.
So I wouldn't really say that I hold myself to a certain height or a certain standard. Like, I'm looking for, like, are you fierce? Are you fabulous? And are you mature?
Right.
So those those two F's and the M, fierce, fabulous, and mature.
I
You
like
know,
that. I like
yeah.
that. We can remember that. And you know what? Can you sell this? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Just like a
exactly.
designer,
Because
models have to do their work and their research as well, and they have to know those
correct.
angles and know how to work and sell that garment. So thank you for sharing that, Vienna. I hope we answered your question. And we're gonna
Hmm.
get into those we want to know questions. So,
Hmm.
first one. If you were stranded on a desert island, okay? You're stranded on an island and you could only bring three things. What would those three things be?
Okay. My three things would be a needle and thread, because you
Okay.
can't have a machine. And then I think I'll bring either my favorite blanket, or my favorite pillow, because that helps keep me, comforted, and get me through, and I think everybody has like a favorite blanket or a favorite pillow out there, that's special, that helps you sleep at night. So that's definitely my three things that I'll bring along
Okay.
on the excursion.
Well, listen, we didn't stump you too bad. You knew what you wanted. That's good. And everyone has a comfort item. I would agree. I would agree with
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
I
yeah.
so
Everybody has something.
that's right. So what is the worst piece of advice that you've ever gotten?
Ah, yes. So actually, it comes from my father, believe it or not. And and it's, stay at a job for 30 years, and collect a pension.
Hmm.
And I think that works for his generation, but as a millennial, or if you're a next gen, or um whatever a generation you're in, like these times, that doesn't work no more. Like, you have to have somewhat of an entrepreneurial spirit if you don't have a complete entrepreneurial spirit. So, because like nothing is guaranteed. As you see right now, we're in a pandemic, and
Right.
everybody is going through, everybody's fighting a battle. We're all fighting a battle. So you have
Absolutely.
to have like more than one hustle. You have to have more than two hustles. You got to be
Okay.
thinking about a third and fourth hustle, to get by in this day and time. Like right now,
Absolutely.
like right now, I've kind of transitioned, and I'm over here making these handy masks.
Okay. Yes. Let us
Man, I'm
know.
over here making these masks. What I mean, just to pay the bills, just to keep some, food on the table right now. What I mean? So like, as a designer, you have to be able to adapt, and pivot, and shift, where you see, and you can't be afraid, to make that step, or to take that leap of faith, and try to not just count on your job, because at the end of the day, they can let you go at any time, and then what are you gonna do?
That's right. And it speaks to your entrepreneurial spirit by you
Hmm.
jumping in there. Because again, you're meeting a need, you're solving a
Yeah,
problem by doing that. So it's not just stylish masks, but you're also doing what you spoke to earlier. You're solving a problem. So, great advice. I know that you're a
yeah,
father. And
yes,
so, you know, is that what you're going to tell him? You're going to prepare him in a
yeah.
different way.
Yeah. So like as a single father, like I'm always trying to, use situations that I go through as a learning lesson for my son, because like he saw me in the newspaper, he saw them come and take a picture of me making masks, and I use that as a learning lesson. Like, look, son, one day you're gonna have to help people. Your time's gonna come where you have to, make a difference and help your community. So you have to take this as a learning example, and when your time comes, you have to be able to help your community.
Absolutely.
Very, very
Absolutely. Thank you
important.
for sharing that. So important.
Yeah.
You're dropping some knowledge, okay? You are dropping some beads of wisdom on us, and I'm
Hey,
taking it
some
all
gems.
in, Troy. I'm loving this. But
Some
I want
gems.
to stump you a little bit.
Sure.
Define fashion in just 2 words. 2 words
Mm,
only.
hmm okay. So I probably say trend setting and innovative,
That's three,
or
Troy. I got
yeah,
you.
trend
I
setting.
got
Yeah. You probably got
Well,
me.
I guess you can hyphenate trend setting, can't you?
Yeah, trend setting and then innovative, and then it's always changing. So but I think it's a mood. It changes for everybody. Everybody has their own definition of fashion.
Absolutely. That's
You know.
wonderful. Thank you so much. I didn't get you
hmm
too much. So, um, marketing and showcasing your garments is so important, right? It's one of
hmm
the major things that we do. If
Yeah.
you had to choose just one of these things have to go forever. Would it be your website,
hmm
fashion shows, or social media platforms? If one of them had to go.
So you said marketing, social media, and fashion shows?
So I said marketing is really important to a
hmm
brand like your own.
Yeah.
One of these three things has to go. Either
Okay.
your personal website,
hmm
your social media accounts,
hmm
or fashion shows. Which one can you live without?
Probably social media.
Ah,
Hey.
yeah. Look who's
Def,
joining
My
you.
son makes an
Who
appearance.
is
You want to
this,
say hi to the
Troy?
people? This is Tyson.
Hi, Tyson.
Tyson the Tiger.
We're
Yep.
gonna get daddy back very shortly, I promise. What was
Yep.
that you said, Troy?
Yeah, so probably social media, because I think by doing fashion shows, you know, it's gonna get on social media. And then, like if you're doing your thing and you're like being creative, like it'll somehow find its way to social media. And then you want to keep your website because that's how you get sales.
That's right.
So I definitely say you want to keep fashion shows and your website.
All right. Look at you.
Yeah,
And you kind
yeah.
of you cheated a little because you're right. If you really do a showstopper, who's got the phones out? It's gonna make itself to social
Yeah,
media. So you're right about that one.
totally. Totally. So,
Okay. So this is really our last question. We want to know question is, what
yeah.
is the ultimate vision for your brand? I know you said
hmm
earlier that you were going to go global,
hmm
but what is that ultimate vision for the Troy Anthony Designs brand?
hmm Basically, at the end of the day, like, I want to be known for like solving problems. So, creating that key garment that helps solve, a lot of women's problems. For example, you see Diana von Furstenberg, she's known for the wrap dress. So it's
Oh,
an iconic piece, so just trying to create that iconic piece that solves a lot of problems.
absolutely.
Okay, let's get to it. Let's get it done.
Okay, you got things happening happening there.
Yeah.
And so the last thing that I want to ask you, Troy, and thank you
Mhm.
so much for joining us here at the Fashion Roundtable. You, like I said, have dropped so much wisdom and knowledge, and we just appreciate your time because we know time is money. What
Yes.
I want to find out is, where can we get a hold of a garment from you or anything from you? What's next on the horizon, and how can we get in touch with you if we're watching and we want a piece?
TroyAnthony.com, check it out. Shop around, reach out. I have a forum on there if you're interested in becoming a client, or you can actually, buy on the website. So that's definitely a starting point. And then like the Facebook business page, it's facebook.com/Troy.Anthony. And then add me on the IG, which is Troy Anthony Fashion, and let's stay connected. And while you're on the website, like, just join the Fashion 411 newsletter, because we let models know, we let our clients know when our next fashion show is and things like that. So
Wow.
we're hoping, to do a fashion show, whether it be maybe a virtual fashion show. Let's see what
Oh yeah.
happens. Let's see what things come upon, but we're definitely, want people to add us, and subscribe to the fashion newsletter.
Okay, wonderful.
Hmm.
Again, Troy, I can't thank you enough. Thank you for joining us. You have really been so informative, like always, and
Thank
just
you.
a class act
Yeah,
from all
for
those
sure.
years ago. It's been a while. It's probably been about almost, what, 8 years.
Woo.
But thank you so
Yes,
much.
you grown too. You grown a lot too. So like, shout out to you, and all the growth I've seen within you.
Thank you.
Or whatever. I think you're doing makeup now too. I think you do a lot. I can't put my finger on one thing, but I know it's
Got a
modeling
lot
for
going
sure.
on
But
over here. Shout out to growth, and thank you so much
yeah,
for joining us here at the Fashion Roundtable. Much
totally,
success, Troy.
totally, absolutely. Thank you for having me, and don't forget, check out the website, y'all. Keep it fashionable.
Absolutely.